Hey people, it's Makeda Valletta, live from New Orleans. I am right now walking through a beautiful neighborhood right now, on a little break. I wish I could show you. Actually, New Orleans is a really beautiful city. See all this greenery? I love a city that's full of green. Anywho, I am in New Orleans, one of my favorite cities, for a Haitian dance intensive with one of my teachers from New York City. He's from Haiti but lives in New York City, that I've been studying with for the past 19 years. It's so beautiful around here. It's because of him and some other, good day people, some other Afro-Caribbean teachers I know in New York that came here to teach a workshop 18 years ago now. And so it was 3 hours on Wednesday. 3 hours on Wednesday. Yesterday it was like 6 hours, and today 6 hours of dancing, drumming. I wish it could be documented, but it's not. And you know, I probably shouldn't even be talking about it while I walk down the street, because I'm like trying to record this because I've been wanting to make a video since I came here, but I've just been busy. And now probably isn't the time, because I really just want to walk down the street and take in the beauty. And I'm trying to get a little mental break. You know, since I've been here, I walked 4.5 miles on Wednesday. I walked about 5 miles on Wednesday to my class. Okay, my class was 5 miles away from where I was staying, and I just felt like walking because I love walking through a city, and I haven't been walking enough. Living in Chicago versus New York, I don't walk as much as I used to. And I also want to get the sun on my skin because it's nice and warm down here. And so I walked 5 miles before my dance class. Okay. The whole time we're in class, we're learning songs in Creole. So if you don't speak Creole, you're learning songs in a language that you don't speak. So you're learning a new language. You're learning drum rhythms, okay, and different parts of the rhythm, because there's a family of drums, they're all playing a different rhythm. Then we're learning complex choreography, having to do it over and over again. And it's like a mental challenge as well as physical. I like to go through little dance boot camps where I'm just dancing hard for hours, for days on end. It's a good way to train the body. And I highly believe in dance, especially black dance, because it involves so much of your body. And cannabis has helped me recover. I feel like consuming edibles helped me not be sore at all, really, after, if you could see the back-breaking movements that we're doing. And a lot of it is not documented because we're dancing, not recording. Right now, hold on, let me just show you. No, I didn't walk 5 hours to class, I walked 5 miles to class. So, it's pretty. And then I walked again 5 miles yesterday. I know, about 4.5 miles yesterday. This is a beautiful street here that I love. And so after all of that, 5 miles on Wednesday, then danced for 3 hours, about 4.5 miles yesterday, danced, drummed, and sang for 6 hours, and today I got a ride to my class, and I am only walking like 0.8 miles on my break, maybe 1.5 miles on my break. And I don't have any soreness in my body. on top of the fact that I've barely eaten, because, well, I have eaten, but unlike New York, it's not like there's good food here, but it's not everywhere. So we dance until 9. A lot of stuff is closed. You got to go out your way. Like, I did a video before about New Orleans and a healthy, active lifestyle, because like most cities in America, there's a lot of blight here. So it depends on what neighborhood you're in. But there's a lot of neighborhoods that don't have a lot of food. And not food. And not food I would eat. Oh, shoot. So when you are very active, oh, the sun. When you're very active and doing a lot, you have to recover. So the recovery part that's important is the sleep, getting enough sleep, getting the right food. And so in New Orleans, it's like when you're in New York and you walk outside, you know, like I don't drink Gatorade, I only drink coconut water, watermelon juice. So many places in America, you know, you're walking around, like right here, there is, hold on, let me show you. There's a gas station, right? So that's really like the only thing, that's like the only thing that I pass down here. And so they don't have anything in there that I would drink. When you're done with class at like 9, like in a city like New York, you know, there's something you can grab if you're hungry. So, you know, yesterday I'm looking to see what kind of food is around. I'm like, let me walk over here. I walk for like 30 minutes. The place is closed. So you guys do have lots of food, but it's not everywhere, okay? Like you have lots of food in certain areas. And that's true in most cities in America. New York is an exception in that way. Chicago is like that too. First of all, a lot of places close early. A lot of restaurants in Chicago close by 9. Or they might say they close at 10, but then they close the kitchen at 9:40, right? And there's whole huge parts of New Orleans and whole huge parts of Chicago where there's no food. So if you're in the French Quarters, yeah. If you're in certain areas, yeah. Okay? But for me, like, you kind of really need a car here unless you're staying in particular areas. And so food is not as accessible as it is in New York. When I'm in New York and I'm running to class, I could be going to class in Brooklyn. I hop off the train. There's people selling coconut water right out the coconut on the sidewalk. I'm walking through Harlem in the summer and it's hot. There's people selling watermelon on the sidewalk, on the street. You know, if I'm like, oh, I need to grab some yogurt, you know, I need to grab something. You see it as you're walking down the street. Here, in order for me to get coconut water, I have to go all the way to Whole Foods. So that makes things difficult. But anyhow, the thing is that when it comes to, you know, I've made videos in the past. I don't know, you know, I've made videos in the past about how much I feel that black dance is really an important tool for keeping your mind and body on point as you age, okay? And a lot of times people don't want to take dance classes because they're like, oh, I'm not a good dancer, and dance classes aren't about, you know, aren't for people being a good dancer. It's about doing your best, right? And trying to do it, putting your whole mind and body into it. When I was growing up, you know, my dad used to always say that the one criticism he had about the New York City public school system was that we didn't have music education. He grew up in the South. He grew up in Florida, where people grew up playing instruments, okay? And in New York City, we did not grow up playing instruments. That wasn't a part of our culture. Like, if you had a parent that was a musician, like you might have a Puerto Rican, a Cuban, a Haitian person who they come from a family of drummers or musicians. They might play instruments, but it's not a part of the culture in the North like it is in the South. And studying, the first time I ever studied, I'm more of a dancer than a musician, but I do drum sometimes. I'm more of a dancer than a drummer. Drumming is a totally different challenge, okay? And when you're doing drumming from the diaspora, it's not sheet music. It's not written down, you know? So it requires you to work your brain a lot. Anytime you're learning new things, there's something called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is when your brain is growing new connections, making new connections, like literally, right, from learning new things. someone said, welcome to the South. No, it's not just the South. All of America has this problem with blight. Philly has it. Everybody. Just New York is an exception in that way. And also, so this intensive that I'm at, this workshop, it's learning, learning new languages helps to exercise your brain, right? So those languages could be spoken languages, or they could be body languages like dancing. There could be the languages that you speak with rhythms, with dance. Okay, dance, playing instruments, speaking. Those are all languages. And I've always said I'm not good with like speaking multiple languages. I could do English and Spanish, that's about it. But when it comes to dancing, I'm better at speaking dance languages. Like, people from different parts of the world dance in different ways. And I'm better at deciphering and learning those things than I am with speaking different languages. But regardless, all of those things help to exercise your brain. And when it comes to dance in particular, a lot of people don't have, their mind-body connection is off. That's one of the things that I teach a lot as a trainer, is getting people to pay attention to their body and what they're actually doing, right? Body awareness is important, but also body control is important. And I've always said nobody has better body control than dancers, okay? Nobody has better body control than dancers, and when you're dealing with dancers from the diaspora, you're dealing with footwork, you're dealing with hip work, you're dealing with, and then when you're talking about Haitian, because that's what this conversation is about, there's many things that I've studied, but the Haitian folklore, to me, is amazing because in dances from the African diaspora, you have to have awareness in multiple parts of your body. So your feet are on one rhythm, your hips are on another rhythm, your shoulders are on another rhythm, your head's on another rhythm, your arms are doing something. And you have to be aligned with the rhythms. So you have to have awareness in multiple parts of your body, but also coordination. Also do it fluidly, and like you're not struggling. Have grace about you, So to me, it's like, there's so many people who, they know everything about their car, and they can use all these gadgets, but then they're like, can't function in their own body. And, the particular teacher that I am studying with, I spoke about, the first time I ever came to New Orleans in 2007 was because of him and some other teachers that I knew in New York who had come down to teach this Afro-Caribbean workshop. And I've been in love with New Orleans ever since then, right? And it's a city that I've come back to many, 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 many times. The energy here is very, very strong and very interesting. And I don't have a lot of time, so I'm not going to go into that. And this is not the page where I tend to go into those things anyway. But yeah, there's so much I want to say, and I don't have a lot of time because I actually have to go back and finish for the last 3 hours. But I've been wanting to make a video since I've been here, just haven't had the time. And I did make a video in the past, maybe past couple years, about access to a healthy, active lifestyle in New Orleans, and I talk about, these different things. But, with me, I don't know. It's just, we should always be challenging ourselves. We should always be pushing ourselves. So even though I am a trainer, even though, I've been dancing forever, you still need a coach. Like, LeBron still has a coach. You never get good enough where you don't need a coach. Dancers are always working on technique and having control through that technique. People do yoga and they're holding poses, right? They're holding poses. And I've always said there's a lot of movements in Haitian folklore that's like yoga poses, but you're undulating your hips and you're moving forward and you're aligning with rhythms. So to me, it's a higher level. And I've said many times that I wish there was more seriousness given to the medicine in our dances. People talk about yoga all day. You see yoga studios everywhere. I wish that there were dance studios centered around black dance the way I see yoga studios.